I don't know. I mean, I'm jacked up. I'm definitely pumped. I am. Also, a little nervous. Here, Hoff. A little nervous. There's almost too many positive New York sporting vibes. You think about this, right? The Yanks are crushing it. The Mets are crushing it. Joe Douglas is a draft assassin. Oh, he crushed it over the weekend. I mean, even just to get the cherry on top, the Long Island tight end from Ohio State. His dad's a crazy Jet fan. They're doing the Jets, Jets chant when he gets drafted. Just awesome. Joe Shane's putting the Giants in the right direction. Rangers ready to get loose, hopefully in the playoffs tomorrow. St. John's actually landed a stud transfer over the weekend. I mean, there's almost too much good happening, Hoff. But we'll get to it all, I promise. Listen, I do think that with the rosters having to be pared down today, it's obviously a huge part of the conversation. What are the Mets going to do? Now, I'm actually seeing this the other way. And I think the easiest thing to do, and listen, the Mets ultimately might still do this. The easiest thing to do is to look at Robinson Cano, who's almost 40, who's hitting $195, who has struck out roughly 25% of the time. And I think he's got like 8 hits. I feel outside of the 1 home run, I feel like every base hit, it's been like a 4 or 5 hopper to the left side, including a bunt early on, right? I think that was opening day. So I look at Cano. Yeah, of course the guy looks like he's washed. And boy, I got to tell you, though, when one of my star players, and I know that Lindor probably speaks for a lot of people in that clubhouse, not that it would derail the Mets, their energy, their positive vibes here, but I don't think I would cut Robinson Cano. I know that it sounds crazy. I mean, the guy's been stealing money for years. You know, who knows what part of his statistical accomplishments are legitimate? Nobody knows. I mean, who knows how long he was juicing for? Multiple times. He's a cheat. But I think he's valued by the Mets. I do. I think he's very much valued by that team. And I'm going to tell you right now, and I've said this for a while, right? Now, you got to understand, when you root for a team, you process things a little differently in your own mind. You kind of, maybe sometimes, not all the time, maybe you kind of illuminate the bad. You know, you almost expect the worst. And a lot of Jet fans have done that. Even with the great draft grades for Joe Douglas, it's still the Jets, which drives me crazy. Because eventually, I mean, think about this. The Rays went to the World Series back in the day. That's when they were still the Devil Rays. You know, the Arizona Cardinals were in the Super Bowl. The Browns won at Heinz Field in the playoffs last year. So I think every team has its day. I don't subscribe to the terminal fate. I don't. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't go nuts and become crazy when things go awry. But as I was saying last week, I generally wake up expecting good things to happen, right? But again, I've got no emotional connection to the Mets, so it's probably easier for me to say this, all right? And conversely, you go back to some of the conversations we had here on the Fan during the winter when I sounded like a raving lunatic. I didn't like what the Yankees were doing because that's my team. You're missing out on this guy. What about that guy? What are you doing here? Too many strikeouts, blah, blah. You heard the conversations. But I can get on the air today. And I was at Citi Field last night. And it was real. I mean, that was a big win. And sure, first of all, Schwarber is an absolute animal. That guy's an animal. That second home run was off one knee. Off one of the best pitchers in baseball. So it was a fun game, right? I can say this and not that the words won't come back and be thrown in my face. Oh, remember when you said this about the Mets? You know, send a little tweet to Freezing Cold Takes, tag me in it, whatever. But it won't destroy me emotionally, so I'm not a Mets fan. But this Mets team is special. This Mets team is special. This Mets team absolutely has a chance to win the World Series. You know, they just do a lot right. They do so much well. You know, and the other thing, too, And I understand Dom Smith, when you get 4 hits in a game, your average is going to balloon when you don't play that much. Dom Smith needs to get 500 at-bats the rest of the way. I don't care how you do it. I don't really know how you're going to do it, but you better do it. Dom Smith needs to play all the time. You want to sit him against a tough lefty, working Canna, Davis might even get cut. Who knows, him or Guillermo. But, then again, it could be Cano. But if it's me, I would not cut Cano, contrary to many. The New York Mets are really good. And it's funny. So I say this, right? Hoff, open up your mic for a sec, right? So I tweet this out last night, and I get it. When something means that much to you, you almost resist it because you're trying to resist the baseball gods working against you, as they so often have, obviously, with the Mets. So I tweet this last night. I said last week the Mets were a few more weeks away from this type of baseball, from running away and hiding from the rest of the East. I stand by it. They absolutely have the horses to do it. This team is legit. Now, if I showed you the responses, and I'll show you during the break if you want, about the reaction from Met fans. I get it, but, as I told you to start the season, walk like a winner and think like a winner. This is not a mirage. This is not a lucky start, and we've seen that before with the Mets recently, right? Were they 11-1, whatever it was?
With Mickey Callaway, yes, 11-1.
With Mickey, obviously. There are certain starts, you could even throw the Knicks last year. Wacky season, interesting circumstances, empty arena, no pressure, blah, blah, blah. Some teams might not be in great shape. So, in large part, we can make the strong case that the Knicks overachieved based on the circumstances. And we even kind of knew that as the season was happening, but we still enjoyed it. I don't know how you watch this Mets team. I really don't. From their starting pitching to the roster construction to the bench. I told you McNeil was going to rake this year. You tell me. I know baseball can be random, so there's no guarantee, but I want you to tell me why a Mets fan today should not be thinking World Series or bust. I want the answer.
There's no reason why you should be thinking World Series or bust. You talked about this too. You compared this with the Jets draft. The mentality of fans that usually go, oh, well, this team, when is the ball going to drop on us? No, change the philosophy. It's a different organization. The GMs are different. The owner's not different for the Jets, but the fact is that the mentality has changed on and off the field for both teams, and the fans have to start letting that click in. It's tough. It's tough because we are so used to, listen, it's May 2nd. This is it. Our season's done at this point in time.
Well, you've got to recondition your mind, and that's hard to do. I get it. We know the teams in this town. We know which teams torture us and which team scares few.
Yeah, Carlos Schwarber is relentless, but we still won 2 out of 3. Yep. We won the series. And what did I say this early on when DeGrom was out and who knows when he's going to come back? I said, relax. It's no problem. We have a veteran team. The pitching rotation is deep. We are in great shape. Yes, we have a few hiccups here and there, but every team does.
What team doesn't? Look right now. Now, the Braves are getting healthy, and that's obviously your chief competition, and the next couple of days should be fun. But some of the other good teams around baseball, like the White Sox, quote-unquote good teams, White Sox look awful right now.
Yep.
The Red Sox, I told you the Yankees were I did not expect that much from Boston this year, and the Red Sox are showing that. Toronto, okay. They very well could win a couple against the Yankees, and maybe that changes perception, but they're not blowing teams out of the water. There's very few teams that run out what the Mets run out there, and that includes a great manager. So, listen, I thought it was a really, really important weekend, not just to keep the streak going. You win 7 straight series, franchise record, that's great. But the more you do this, you're building this culture within the team, which is why I thought it was so important at various points this year for the Mets to throw and retaliate and hit some guys. Now, last night it was obvious, we're coming at you. Missed you. Coming at you again. Missed you. All right. But this guy plunk. That you need to see. But I just think really from start to finish, from the offseason to, I think, Buck's demeanor early in camp to the crispness to how they're playing right now, you got to like what you're seeing from the Mets. There's no doubt about that.
No question. And one thing I want to add to, because what you said from the beginning was Cano, on the cusp. Do they cut him? Do they not? I 100% agree with you. I think that the chemistry on this team is so special right now. You don't want to see a guy like Smith go down. You don't want to see a guy like Guillermo go down. But on the other hand, if Cano, last year there were so many clubhouse issues, maybe Cano is that guy that kind of connects everybody.
I think every team needs that. And listen, by the way, in a sport like baseball where you just think about the monotony. Now, we all loved playing as a kid. We all loved playing however, whatever level you progress to. But if you think about the day-to-day monotony of being a baseball player, and I understand they're incredibly well compensated. There's glory, there's an aura. You get to play in front of 25, 30,000 people. You're on TV. I get it. All the trappings, the perks, whatever. But, when you go to the yard 162 times a day, 162 times a year, pardon me, and you get there 3.5 hours, sometimes 4 hours before first pitch, like these guys do. You take BP. They don't take infield, outfield the way they used to when I was a kid, but BP, going over the scouting charts, looking at the data, looking at the spliced up video compilation of whomever you're facing that day, stretching. There's a monotony to it. And then you play a game, and, while it's less laborious now because the game's being sped up, there's still no time limit. Usually you're out there around 3 hours. Then what do? You go in the clubhouse, you take a shower, you get dressed, you meet the media. You do that every single day, just about. And when you've got, whether it's a steadying force, an energetic force, a galvanizing force, a Yoda-type force, and that's where I would think Cano falls in, that Yoda, what he can impart, a calmness. I've been here. I know the city. I played on the other side. I've had success. I've won a World Series. You can't quantify that. I mean, you could try, but I'm not even going to make a prediction. I was about to say, I would be surprised if the Mets cut. I don't know. The Mets very well might cut him. I'm telling you, if it's my team, I would keep him around for a little bit more. And that's not some false belief that he's going to suddenly roll out of bed and hit 330. No. I mean, the bat speed's just about shot. But I'm going to hold on to him just a little bit longer before I do something that would not be, in my opinion, and the opinion of one of your star players, very well received in that locker room. I'm going to keep him around. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney Show on the Fan. So Tiki is out. He had his Hollywood weekend. He's traveling back on the jet. He's sending us pictures like I care. Hanging out with Jeter and his wife. Great, TK. Fantastic. You had a good weekend in the Bahamas playing golf with everybody while your partner was slumming it. It looked like you had a good time. We're inside the Town Fair Tire Studio. Our friends at Town Fair remind you that you always get the guaranteed lowest price on name brand tires from Connecticut to Maine. Nobody beats Town Fair Tire. Nobody. I almost had 30 seconds on this, Hoff. Your boy, meaning me, was very close to being in the hospital this weekend. So I'm coaching. We have my little girl and her six girlfriends. So I'm coaching their T-ball team. Another team I coach, which is amazing. And it was their first game. We had the parade. It was really good. So, we've had a few practices, but when you're 5 and 6 years old, baseball's like anything, complicated to learn. They're swinging bats. They're running. They're so adorable, but there's a lot of things going on. Long story short, I'm talking to, I think I was talking to one of the coaches at third base. I didn't even know what I was saying. It's not like I was saying sender or, double steal. What could I possibly be saying in a T-ball game, right? But my head is, imagine this, my head is towards third base, and I'm walking back to home plate because I put the balls on the tee for the girls, right? As I turn, and she's one of our best friends, family friends too, the daughter takes a vicious swing and smashes me in the knee with a metal bat. The whole crowd went, dude, it hurt like hell.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't drop an F-bomb or because when I get hurt, my dad did this when I was a kid. When my dad would get hurt or when one of us would get hurt, he would curse and he would punch something. Not like, I don't mean like put a hole through the wall, but that's how he would express it because it was really fear. And I don't know how I didn't say something, not to the little girl, but just, dude. And by the way, if that thing's a little higher, we got real problems.
Yeah, you're definitely not going to be here today, I'll tell you that one.
We got real problems. But the Mets don't have any issues. The Yankees have none as well. Judge, listen, the slow start, that is a thing of the past. Don't worry. We're getting to our Yankees as well. But right now, Mets out of the chute. And Greg is in New York on the Fan. What's up, Greg?
Thanks for taking the call.
You got it, Greg. Deep voice, Greg. Deep voice.
Yeah, well, it doesn't do me much good in the household. But anyhow, anyway.
What, nobody listens to you like the rest of us, Greg? Is that what you're saying?
Nobody cares. Come on.
Nobody cares. Pay the bills and shut up, Daddy. Nobody cares.
You get it. Listen, as far as this, who they got to let go or who they got to send down.
Yep.
Listen, I have flashbacks to a World Series game when a first baseman named Duda tries to throw the ball home in the heat of the moment, and they're still looking for the ball. They're still chasing after it.
Yep.
Listen. The best Met team is Dom Smith at first base, and my man Alonso as a DH. And I know how much he wants to play every day, but hey, not everybody gets what they want all the time. It's just life. The best Met team, and you were absolutely right. Dom Smith, 500 at-bats. He's got to get 500 at-bats.
Greg, I don't understand I don't know what they see. Thanks for the call there, buddy. I don't know what they see when they look at Dom Smith. I know up until last night they saw a batting average that was sub 200. And I remember the first, I think, 10 or 11 at-bats he had whiffed 7 or 8 times. And you saw a disappointing season a year ago. But this is COVID. I mean, these are unique circumstances. Dom Smith, now, I don't think he's a great athlete. He is actually a pretty good first base. I don't love him in the outfield. So I'm not saying it's perfect. But Dom Smith is a pure hitter. And there are not many pure hitters anymore. Jeff McNeil, pure hitter. DJ LeMahieu, pure hitter. You know, and there's others around the league, but I'm saying locally. But he's one of them. Dom's pure hitter. Contact rate, use the whole field. He's got to get at bats. Like, I don't know how, and I know it's a different regime. They didn't draft him, but sometimes you inherit something that's pretty good. And this guy's got to play. So there's no way that obviously Dom Smith's going to be sent packing. But way beyond that, he's got to play every 7 games. He's got to play 6. He's got to. 877-337-6666. Tiki and Tierney on the Fan. We'll get into all the Jets and the Giants stuff. We're going to have a lot of football talk later. Mets now. We're going to get into the Yankees as well. Big series with Toronto. Best records in baseball. Locals looking good. So I guess we'll take it while we have it right here on the Fan.